We're standing here in front of this tree because it carries a nest box, and I want to tell you a little bit about a very interesting study that we've just started here on the Zernike Campus. And this study is about birds, in this case, that use these nest boxes. Koolmezen, pimpermees, so great tit and blue tit. And in the bigger picture, we want to know how nature copes with this light that we humans are putting out into the world now. And so if you look around, you can see this nest box is right next to buildings. It's next to the sports facilities. There's a lot of light at night on the Zernike campus, and we want to understand what this does to birds and to other animals and plants out here on the campus. So the boxes were hung just before Christmas, and then of course we gave it a little bit of time for the birds to kind of like inspect the boxes, and now we're collecting data from them with some technology that's kind of hidden in these boxes.
We hung up 94 of these nest boxes, and first we measured the light with a lux meter. It's an instrument that measures the light, and we have 3 different zones of lights, which is high, medium and low. And high intensity comes from lights from the tennis courts or from the parking place, and the low is actually almost zero light, and medium comes from street lights at a distance from about 5 meters. Results that we find are significant. Only if you hang about 10, you wouldn't see anything that's relevant, because it could just be data from incidents. So the more the merrier, and your data is more confident.
We have 2 goals. One goal is a practical goal for this campus to become as nature friendly as possible. Right now it's not really perfect. It could become a lot better for biodiversity. But we also want to know, it's a global problem with light at night. There's a lot here, but we really want to understand how nature responds to this light, and maybe find ways for changing the lighting so that it works relatively well for wild organisms as well.
Yeah, so we designed these set-in instruments, which have a passive infrared logger, which is something you know maybe from your motion sensor at home. It goes on when it detects movement. You can see when they come into the nest box around 5 most of the time. Well, the data I found, you can see them come in at 5, and they leave in the morning about 8. And during the night the birds move a little bit from in the nest box, and you can see the movement as well. So you can clearly see when a bird enters and what it does at night. The university workshop made all these loggers, which is very useful, because otherwise I've been losing a lot of time making these myself, and I'm very grateful for it.
This is the beginning, and we hope that it's going to be a series of studies with many small projects following onto each other. Now it's winter, but of course soon it'll be spring, fortunately. And then the next part of the project will look at the springtime and breeding of birds, and we will continue from there.
Well, in spring there will be little birds, and then we can also use them the loggers to see when the parents come in and when they feed, and at what time they feed, and that could also be very helpful because we can retrieve data from all the nest boxes without interfering and disturbing the birds itself.
The first results will be coming in about a month or so, but this is of course not yet the breeding behavior, it's just the nightly rest behavior.
I think it might be very useful that we see how the birds react to the light, and that we can achieve more birds and more species diversity to come here to campus and make the campus more bird and animal friendly.